In this week's Parsha, we have the destruction of Sodom, which I covered yesterday. And in the aftermath, remember Lot and his family are leaving, and their orders are not to look back. Sort of like saying, don't regret the fact that you left Sodom. It was supposed to be what it was supposed to be. And as we all know, Lot's wife looked back, and she turned into a pillar of salt. By the way, there was a satirical work done by a book of essays by Ephraim Kishon back in the 50s, and the title was "Look Back, Mrs. Lot." But everything that they knew was destroyed, and for his daughters, their entire world was destroyed. They could not conceive of the world replenishing itself. And therefore, they had relations with their father, and each one of them got pregnant, and we got Moab and Ammon from there. The psychological impact of this on Lot's daughters. In every generation, people think this is the worst it ever has been. They don't realize that there are times in history when it was even far worse. Remember when this pandemic grew up, and I was sort of laughing, saying, wait a minute, just a few, of the amount of deaths, because I remember reading about the Black Plague, which literally wiped out a fourth of the population of Europe. So in other words, we've gone through tough times as people. The world did not come to an end, but cooler heads had to prevail to let you know that this is not the end. Some people say that one of the reasons for a high divorce rate is that anybody who gets married knows you have to sort things out in the first days of marriage. It's not an easy thing. Usually, if you're in a community and you have your parents there and you go to complain to your parents, they'll say, yeah, we have the same problems. In other words, what you're going through is nothing new. And that's what Lot's daughters didn't realize, that these things happen. Tragedy happens in life, whether that we don't like it, but that's the way it is. When we lose a parent, we think the whole world has just stopped. I remember when I got up from Shiva for my father and was doing the walk around the block, I was thinking, gee, don't these people know I just lost my father? They're going about their daily business. So that's basically, though, the way of humans. We think that what happened to us is the worst thing, and we can't conceive, and we have to take a stop and realize, no, this has happened before. It's normal for these things to happen. And because of the Lot's daughters didn't do this, they committed sins, and we suffered in the end because of that. But we also, through them, we got the house of David, because remember Ruth came from Moab. Right. So, and what does the old Yankee Stadium have to do with Beit David, the house of David? They're both the house that Ruth built. That's one of Rabbi Schwartz's, by the way. Okay, but anyway, just remember, no matter how bad it looks to us, it's been worse. Something to think about.